The job of providing an escort for the President of the United States, negotiating a hostage situation, and helping children cross the street safely is the responsibility of one section of the Arlington Police Department, Special Operations.
Special Operations includes those entities that are not in your traditional patrol function, such as the motorcycle unit, traffic unit, the parking enforcement folks, crossing guards, and it also contains the SWAT team.
Okay. It's almost like where everything else doesn't fit, kind of put it into Special Operations so that it does have quite a unique range of jobs.
You think of Marine Corps marathons, you think of parades, you think of things like that, where you're gathering a group of people together to regulate, to monitor, not draining, in essence, the regular patrol.
Our job, regardless of your assignment as a crossing guard, a public service aide, a motor officer, or a SWAT team member, our job is to provide for the safety and security of the public.
On a day-to-day basis, the more visible units of the Special Operations Section, or SOS, are parking enforcement and crossing guards, but you also see the traffic unit at work, including motor escorts.
We get many requests for funeral escorts. We get a lot of dignitary escorts, whether it's from Congress or the Vice President or President. Heads of state come through here. A lot of them go to the Arlington National Cemetery. A lot of them go to the Pentagon. It's interesting the difference that 9/11 had on everybody, because prior to 9/11, I recall Clinton in particular, the Secret Service, calling, saying, hey, he wants to go play golf. And the closest golf course to him is here in Arlington, Army-Navy Country Club. So we would get the call and he'd be halfway over here. So he would usually go with traffic, and we would never do that now, because a sitting target is too easy to hit. So they always want to be moving, want to run through the red lights and move at a pretty good clip.
Recently, we had the privilege and the honor to provide an escort to the remains of the sailors from the USS Monitor. And we escorted those remains to the Arlington National Cemetery. The day-to-day operations, you're going to see motor officers and parking enforcement and crossing guards, but in a time of crisis, you'll have a professional SWAT member or SWAT team coming to your aid.
Special Weapons and Tactics, or SWAT, is a sought-after unit. However, not all officers are a good fit, but 5 new recruits did make the team after a recent selection process.
It was a comprehensive selection process that lasted several days. It involved background checks, additional recommendations from their supervisors, a plethora of physical activities, as well as firearms range training and team building exercises.
Sometimes you got to hold that gun out further, so you might have to collapse this down a little bit so that you can get it out.
What we're really interested in are those that can make independent decisions and make strong decisions, and those that work well in a team environment. The other skills, such as physical ability, firearms training, we can train people to improve upon those, but we're really looking for the intangibles. Somebody has to be an existing police officer for at least 3 years. They have to have a work reputation, they have to have a work history here, and they're evaluated through their chain of command and provide recommendations before they will be considered for an appointment. The team is deployed roughly 25 to 30 times a year. Many of those times are for pre-planned events, such as a presidential visit, large-scale special events such as the Marine Corps Marathon, the Army 10-miler, 4th of July celebrations, and they are assembled in a time of crisis, such as a hostage barricade type of event. SWAT has 3 components. One is the actual operational arm of it, the intel group, and the negotiation unit.
Negotiating really can happen any place, but most often, if we have our preference and our choice, we like to use it in our vehicle. It is a very nondescript truck. We don't want to draw attention. We want to work in anonymity so that what we feel we can get the best results. We had someone think it was actually an ice cream truck and come up to one of our plainclothes officers with some money looking to buy something in the park. Right now, where we are is kind of the command center for the negotiations. This room is a totally isolated room, and then using this equipment, they communicate with either the hostage taker or the person in crisis.
Being a negotiator can be intense sometimes. I need you to put the weapon down. I need you to come out with your hands up. And very challenging, and yet very rewarding all at the same time. Are you hurt? And you have every right to be upset, yes. Our job consists of all sorts of different things, part of which is to try to talk somebody into giving themselves up so that we can try to get them the help that they need. Okay, she's coming out. We had a guy who had called an escort service for some dancers, okay? But he paid them for a specific kind of service. They decided that all they were going to do was actually dance. And he decided that that's not what he paid for and wanted his money back. They refused to give him the money back, and so he decided that his best option was to keep them. As far as the girls knew, he had a gun because that's what he said. So I'm trying to help you come up with the best solution for your problem. I was able to talk him into letting the girls go and turning himself over to the police who were already on his floor.
Unfortunately, not all situations are successful.
We have had those unfortunate incidents where we've had a negotiator on the phone and someone has killed themselves.
It's just sad all around, and you know, you always feel like, what could I have done to make things go a different way? And it's not the negotiator who did anything wrong. It's just one of those things that when someone is looking to kill themselves, they're going to do it. And it's a shame because you're still left with that feeling that you could have done more, even if there isn't anything more you can do.
Fortunately, there is counseling available for the men and women of the Special Operations Section. They are fully aware of the risk involved when they volunteer, but still do it out of a need to serve their community.
I put in for it. You know, it wasn't like someone said, you have to do this. I chose this, and I'm glad that I did.
It's easy for us to do. We do it on a daily basis. But when we get that feedback on how appreciative they are, and you know, just the respect that we show for that family member and bringing them to their final resting place, really brings you back into reality and kind of gives you a sense of why you're doing this job.
My son was 4 years old when I became a cop. I was in the department a few years already when my daughter was born. So this is the norm for them. They get a kick out of this, especially when their friends realize that this is what I do for a living, and their friends are, you know, like, wow, and they're like, that's just my mom.
I am proud to work with all the people in this agency. I've been able to do a number of things in my time here, and it's been vastly rewarding because of the people that I share the experience and time with.